Good evening, guys. Happy Wednesday. Gosh, that sounds weird. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Stretch and Reset. We are going to be working through a 30-minute stretch this evening whilst we try our new stretch timetable. So for those of you who aren't aware, we're going to be trialing this month classes at different times of the week, different times in the evenings, different days to try and gauge kind of what works best for everybody. So this evening, we're here on a Wednesday. The playlist is in the chat for you if you would like to use it. All you need is to make sure you've got some water nearby and then we'll be good to go. Also, you might like a cushion at some point as well. So have one within reach. Most people are probably in the lounge anyway, so you've got one where you need to be. When you are ready, pop on that playlist from the beginning and we will get cracking. We're going to start today in a seated position. So moving over to your mat or little space that you're working in today, we're just going to start cross-legged. But what I want you to do is not sit cross-legged the way that you normally would. So swap them around. There we go. It feels very weird to start with, but it just means that we're stretching out a little bit more on our dominant side as we sit in this position. So bringing the hands down onto the knees, we're just going to start by softly closing down the eyes and taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose again and out through the mouth. And this time, as we breathe in through the nose, I want you to roll those shoulders all the way up to the ears. And as we breathe out through the mouth, bring the shoulder blades together, back and down. So you're seated nice and upright. We're just going to move through some neck circles. So tilting the head over to the left-hand side, then bringing the chin down to the chest, over to the right-hand side, and all the way back, looking up at the ceiling if your eyes were open, and then the other way, bringing the head to the right, chin down to the chest, head over to the left, and all the way back. Just take a second here to move that neck side to side as you need. If you've been sat at a desk all day, you might just want to move through a few shoulder rolls from side to side. And when you're ready, coming back to center, opening the eyes if you wish, or if you wish to keep them closed for today's class, that's absolutely fine. Taking the right hand down to the side, we're going to sweep the left arm up and over and into our first side stretch of today's class. Once you reach the position, taking a nice deep breath in for 4. And as you exhale, just trying to go a little bit deeper into that stretch. If you wish, perhaps coming down onto the forearm rather than the hand on that side. I'm just going to be staying here for around 30 to 40 seconds. We're going to be taking all of our stretches really nice and slow in today's class. So remember that throughout those 30 to 40 seconds, we don't just want to be holding our breath. We want to make sure we're breathing in through that nose, out through the mouth. One last breath here, nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring yourself back up to center, taking the left hand down to the floor and that right arm coming up and over the top as we move into exactly the same stretch on the other side. Again, a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I just want you to bring that focus now to why you've joined today's class, whether it's live with us or whether it's on demand. Perhaps you had a really good session and just need to stretch out that body after, or perhaps you had a little bit of a tougher session and that body needs a little bit of TLC. Just set yourself an intent for today's class. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, option to lower from that hand onto the forearm if you wish. And remember, with each exhale, it's an opportunity to come a little bit further into that stretch. Well done, everybody. Looking good. A few more breaths here, in through that nose, out through the mouth. And on your next inhale, take it nice and deep. And on the exhale, bring yourself back up to center. You guys stay where you are. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see nicely. We're going to take those hands in front of us, interlacing the fingers, rounding through the neck and shoulders. Imagine someone's pulling your shoulder blades apart and separate down to the side as we just round through and counter stretch. Again, some nice deep breaths as we move through. And just with every exhale, imagine those hands on your back, pulling those shoulder blades just a little bit further apart, millimeter by millimeter, every single time. Well done, guys. When you're ready, lowering those hands down to the floor, roll yourself up onto your knees and shuffle yourself back into a tabletop position. So we want to see the knees directly underneath the hips, the hands directly underneath the shoulders. We're not going to be staying here though. We're going to be tucking those toes, sending the bum up to the corner of the room and going straight into our first downward dog for today. Remember, you can either take this static, or if you wish to pedal through those feet, if you're feeling a little bit tight and tired, then please feel free to do so. We'll come back to the downward dog a few times throughout today's class, so you'll be able to see how those legs ease off throughout the next 20 minutes or so. Keep that pedaling going. And when you're ready, we're just going to step the left foot to the outside of the left hand, lowering the right knee down to the floor and coming up into a half kneeling position. Now, if you do wish to use a cushion, if it's slightly uncomfortable, you can slide one just under the right knee. If you're good where you are, then that's absolutely fine. We're just going to start with a bit of mobility into this left hip. So think about moving forwards and then backwards, but also think about moving round to the side and back in. And you'll definitely find some spots where you go, oh, hello. And they're the ones that we want to focus on. So just coming back each time to those spots. Perhaps you want to rotate inwards slightly. That's absolutely fine as well. Keep that breathing going throughout. Well done. And coming back to center, we're just going to shuffle the left leg out slightly, bringing the heel to the floor, and just start to lower the chest towards the floor, hands coming down as we take a stretch through the back of the hamstring. Again, if you can't reach the floor, don't worry, grab yourself a couple of cushions, pop them either side, and use those to rest your hands up on there. Now, whilst we're in this hamstring stretch, it can get quite intense. So I just want you to think about where you need to be today. If you do need to be a little bit higher, that's absolutely fine. Don't over push yourself. That's not what this session's for. If you're feeling good, then I want you to bring the focus to the left foot for me. Where are the toes pointing at the moment? If they're pointing away from you, I want you to try and just pivot them a little bit further towards your forehead. Think about them coming all the way back to that forehead. And with every breath, just inching them a teeny little bit further back towards that forehead. Perhaps you want to rock from side to side slightly, or a little bit backwards and forwards. Remember, this is all about mobility as well. So wherever you need to be today is absolutely fine. If you're feeling good where you are, perhaps start thinking, if you're using cushions, about moving those out the way and coming fully into that stretch. We're going to be here for another 30 seconds, a very intense one. So keep that breathing going. And remember, every exhale, It's just an opportunity to try and take that stretch a tiny little bit deeper. Well done, everyone. Looking great. Final few moments here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Loosen off for me and shuffle that left foot over towards the right hand side of your mat, bringing the knee down towards the left hand side of the mat and bringing yourself into the first pigeon of today's class. Now, you may wish to stay up on those hands if the glute and hip are feeling tight, or you might wish to come down a little bit further, perhaps again using a cushion to block between yourself and the floor, or perhaps you want to go all the way down. Again, that's absolutely fine as well. Take yourself to where you need to be today. And the thing with pigeon stretch is we often find that while we're in the stretch, we're actually tensing the muscle that we're trying to stretch. So I just want you to have a think about that left glute right now. Are you actually tensing it? If you are, on the next exhale, just let it go. Let all that tension leave. And all of a sudden, you'll find that stretch massively increase through. We're going to be staying here for a whole minute. So close those eyes down. Tune out. And just focus on that breathing. And I'll let you know when we're going to move into our next position. We're here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully bring yourself back up onto those hands. If you were down on the forearms, tuck the back toe, send the left foot back to meet it, and pushing yourself up once again into our downward dog. Pedaling through if you need to. If not, starting now to focus on a more static downward dog, pushing the heels towards the floor, bum up towards the corner of the sky. The gaze is looking back through the legs behind you and relax off those shoulders as well. If you're pedaling through those legs, that's absolutely fine. All together now, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand and lower ourselves down into that half kneeling position again. Well done. And we're just going to start into that mobility on that side again. So perhaps forwards, maybe inwards, or maybe out and around to the side. Whatever you feel that you need. Finding any spots that feel particularly tight and just focusing on those as we go. Now, before we move into our stretches on this side, if you do need a sip of water, now is a good time to grab one. And then just meet us back in that hip mobility. Perfect, guys. Meeting back in that half kneel position, shuffling the right foot out in front of us and bringing it onto the heel. Slowly starting on this side now to lower that chest towards the leg, hands to the floor or onto your cushions either side. And coming into our hamstring stretch on the right hand side this time. Again, focusing on that breathing. It's a difficult stretch, we know that. If you're feeling good and you're ready for an additional focus, then bring the gaze to those toes. Where are they pointing? On your next exhale, just try and bring them a little bit back towards that forehead. Remember, the breathing is super important in this one for us. Well done. If you need to come up and out, have a little bit of a wiggle and reset back in, that's absolutely fine. Not a problem at all. Again, bring the focus to those toes. Can we shuffle them back towards you anymore? Holding for another 10, 9, 8. Told you there'd be a little visitor. 7, 6, 5. Hello. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing yourself and that right foot over to the left-hand side of the mat for me, and lowering the knee down to the right-hand side. Bringing yourself into our pigeon on this side this time, either up on our hands, bamboo's doing pigeon too, great work, or down on those forearms for me, wherever you need that stretch to be today. Checking in again with the glute on the right hand side this time. Are we tensing it at all? On the next exhale, let it go. Sinking into the stretch, and we're going to be staying here again for 60 seconds on this side. So get yourself comfortable, close down those eyes, and I'll let you know when it is time for us to come out of this stretch. We're here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. When you're ready, carefully bring yourself back up onto those hands, tucking the left toe, bringing the right leg back to join, and pushing yourself up once again into that downward dog, pedaling through the legs if you need, but we're not going to be staying here for long. I want you to bring those knees down to the floor nice and wide, bring the toes together, move the hands forward a little bit, and sit that bum back as we move into our child's pose. Now I want you to think about activating the back. In order to do that, spread the fingers nice and wide and really push the hands down into the floor as you push that bum back at the same time. Closing down those eyes, focusing on the breathing. And slowly just walking those hands over towards the left hand side for me, coming into a little bit of a twist with our child's pose. You should start to feel a stretch down the right hand side of the shoulder and the outside of the rib cage as well. I'm going to be staying in this position for another 30 seconds, just stretching out this side. A little bit of a variation on our usual child's pose, just really getting into a different area here. For another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully walk those hands back to the center. And when you're ready, this time they go over to the right hand side as we move into the same rotational stretch. This time feeling the extension down the left hand side of the shoulder and rib cage. try and focus that breathing as if it's going into that left-hand side of the body. Imagine when you breathe in, you're directing that fresh oxygen all the way to that left-hand side where we're feeling the stretch. And as you exhale, imagine you're breathing away all the tension from that area. Holding for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring those hands back into the middle. Tuck those toes for me. Send that bum up to the sky and back into our final downward dog of today's session. Now, hopefully you can feel that those legs have opened up a little and they're feeling a little bit more flexible than we were before. Remember, sending those heels down into the floor as much as we can. Not staying here for too long as we bring ourselves forwards onto the tiptoes and into our high plank position. Knees come down to the floor, chest lowers down, and with our hands either side of our chest, legs parallel, pushing ourselves up into our upward dog. Looking good, guys. Well done. Feeling that extension through the core, but also the back as well. Try and keep that chest open. Don't let yourself hunch. Try and keep the chest nice and open. And if you want to add something a little bit extra, just taking the gaze and looking over the left shoulder. And then the right shoulder. And as you look over each shoulder, try and use that as your exhaling breath to release the tension from that side of the body. And when you're ready, just lowering the chest back down towards the ground, slowly rolling yourself over onto the back, grabbing a cushion if you haven't already used one, and just getting comfy on the back as we move into our final little section for today. Or wait until everyone's there. Fab. First off, we're just going to bring the feet together and allow the legs to flap out into what we call butterfly pose. Just a little bit of a stretch through that groin area. Well done, guys. I'm bringing the legs together now, taking the right foot, crossing it over the left knee, reaching through the gap and slowly bringing that leg in towards you into our figure of 4 glute stretch. Well done, guys. Holding here for another 30. Again, using all of those exhales to help us move a little bit further into the stretch. Well done, guys. And if you feel like you want to add just a little bit extra, you can start to extend that left leg up as well. Focusing on that foot that is up ahead of you. Slowly just adding a little bit more of a pull as we hold for a final 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering that left leg down to the floor, uncross that right leg. The left leg goes up and across this time, and coming into the gap, moving into our figure of 4 stretch once again. Perhaps feeling it in a little bit of a different place this time. Or perhaps feeling that things were a little bit tighter or looser than they were on the other side. Again, coming back to focusing on those inhales and exhales. And if you want that little bit extra, that leg kicks up, and focus on those toes coming back towards the forehead again on this side. Well done, guys. Nice deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, holding here for another 15. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lowering those legs back down for me. Taking the left leg to the floor, we're going to bring that right leg up into our grasp, taking a hold of the shin. Just give it a nice big squeeze in, a few little circles here around, just to see how it's feeling. And then taking the left hand onto the outside of the leg, the right arm out to the side, and pulling that leg over towards the left for me as we move into that spinal rotation. Keep the gaze as much as you can over towards the right hand side. Looking good, well done. Holding for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center, that right leg goes down to the floor, the left leg comes up into our hold. Again, a few little circles wherever you might need them if you've got some tension in there. And when you're ready, taking the right hand onto the left knee, the left arm out to the side, gaze to the left as we bring that left leg, over to the right hand side into our spinal rotation. Holding for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring yourself back to center now. Legs down to the floor, palms up to the ceiling. Allow the feet just to flop open. Closing down the eyes if you haven't already. And just taking a few moments here at the end of today's stretch to come back to that intention that we set at the beginning. And think about our goals for the week ahead as well. Focus on those things that you've already achieved this week and the things that you would like to achieve going forwards. If you'd like to stay here for a little bit longer, then please feel free to do so. If you're ready to round off today's class, then slowly roll yourself over onto one side, keeping the eyes closed, using the palm of the hand to slowly sit yourself back up into that cross-legged position once again. Hands come down onto the knees. And we're just going to take 3 slow shoulder rolls all the way up to the ears. Then bringing the shoulder blades down and back together. One more, inhaling as we bring them up. Exhaling as they come down and back. And last one, inhaling as they come up. And exhaling as they come down and back. When you're ready, just slowly blinking those eyes back open. And I will come on over. The good news is Bamboo's just decided that now is the time to go to sleep. So that's fantastic. Coming on over. Thank you so much for joining this evening, guys. Whether you joined us here live or on demand, I hope you found today's session really helpful. and be back next weekend with the lovely Emma taking you through your yoga flow. So be sure, if you're part of the community, to check the group chat for information on that. And if you are part of S4R or our plans, then make sure to check the True Coach app after that date, where you'll be able to find the class uploaded. That is it for this evening, guys. I will love you, and leave you, love you to enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you all again very soon. Thanks, team. Bye.